Linda, come on up. From Families Against Energy Extraction Free.
Yeah, so hello, I'm Linda Riddle. 1 year ago I relocated back to the Mississippi River Valley for family living and natural living, and there's nowhere else that I would rather be. So today I'm here to speak on behalf of Families Resisting Energy Extraction, also known as FREE. FREE stands in support of this alliance and joins the call to address climate change by banning industrial frac sand mining and fracking. In Winona County, Houston County, La Crosse, Jackson, Eau Claire, and every county in Wisconsin and Minnesota where the intent is to continue or begin dangerous frac sand mining, FREE supports the call for a ban. It's not only a Wisconsin problem, it's happening in Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Throughout the United States, we have a very serious problem. Families and communities are harmed, even destroyed, by this industry as they take our sand after leveling the bluffs and transport to fracking locations in places like Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, Pennsylvania, as well as North Dakota. To add insult to injury, we have leaking pipelines and unsafe rail cars that were never intended to carry highly explosive oil and other hazardous materials. These dangerous chemical concoctions sometimes fall directly into our rivers and streams, including the mighty Mississippi, as we have seen recently firsthand. Please realize we're fighting one industry, fracking, oil transport, and frac sand mining, yet it's decentralized so that it often looks like multiple industries, sometimes pitching neighbor against neighbor. As is often the case with the energy industry, we pay enormous costs and put our people, communities, rivers, streams, and bluffs in harm's way, all for the profit of a few. And make no mistake, it's profit-driven. If there wasn't huge profit, it would not be happening. It's now time for the people of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Pennsylvania, and all across the nation, well, as well as Canada, where we have massive fires that are approaching oil fields, to link together and fight back by addressing climate change through a ban on frac sand mining and rapidly develop renewable energies. Thank you. I'm really lucky. I get to stand up here and read a statement from an organization, a national and international organization that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is Witness for Peace. Witness for Peace is a politically independent, nationwide grassroots organization. Witness for Peace mission is to support peace, justice, and sustainable economies in the Americas by changing U.S. policies and corporate practices that contribute to poverty and oppression in Latin America and the Caribbean. Witness for Peace Midwest endorses and supports the goals of the Alliance, and we join them in calling on our country to address climate change by banning frac sand mining and fracking and rapidly develop renewable energy. In our work throughout the Americas, Witness for Peace Midwest sees non-renewable resource extraction as the source of vast environmental disruption, and we see how independence on fossil fuels can lead to violent displacements of communities and other human rights violations. We support a coordinated international resistance against fracking, along with other pollutive and violent systems of energy extraction. And we join with the Alliance today in calling for a complete redesign of our country's energy systems to address climate change and the violent manifestations of our current system. Thank you.
Linda. Anybody heard from neighbors first? There's some people on the list that I don't know. So, okay, please welcome Layla Johnson from the Community Rights Groundwork in the Ropework, correct?
Close enough.
Close enough.
My name's Layla Johnson. I'm speaking on behalf of Community Rights Groundwork, which is a national organization that seeks to support communities in the creation of locally enforceable laws banning such destructive industrial practices as frac sand mining. We support communities in the creation of law that not only bans destructive projects, but also enforces the democratic will of the people and their right to have laws that they can consent to. I'd like to read from the state constitutions of both Minnesota and Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, the first article of the state constitution says, "Government is instituted for the protections of the rights of people, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To protect these rights, governments are instituted. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed." In Minnesota, the first words of the Constitution are, "The object of government. Government is instituted for the security, benefit, and protection of people, in whom all political power is inherent, together with the right to alter, modify, or reform these structures, their government, whenever it is required by the public good." I couldn't be more pleased to hear that the aim of this alliance is to outright ban frac sand mining. Regulations prove themselves to be useless over and over. I have seen on the agenda, I was looking at the agenda of the Frac Sand Insider Conference Session 4. They've changed the name since then, but previously the conveyor improvements to control silica dust was called Managing Fines, which I thought was very interesting because that is a widely used industry practice to say, if there's a fine when we break this regulation, we'll simply manage that fine by including it in the costs of production. Fining, regulating does not work. I'm also happy to hear that the impression is that creating a ban in both Minnesota and Wisconsin seems to be legal. I would argue that even if the legal reality that has been created by industry insiders, such as the industry insiders of frac sand mining here at this conference, if this legal reality would make banning it illegal, then our mandate to create those bans is even stronger. If the law does not represent the will of the people, if the law does not represent legal constructs that we can freely give our consent to, then we do not live in a democracy, and it is our duty as the people, in whom all political power is inherent, to create local structures of law that do represent our will. It is my great pleasure to be a part of this alliance in banning frac sand mining. It's true that if we create these laws, we live in a democracy. If industry insiders and our so-called representatives who refuse to represent our will create laws, that's nothing but imperialism and colonialism, and we have a right and a duty to stand up against it. Thank you.
Oh, if they could hear us now. Carleen, if you'd come up from First Congregational Church, that'd be great. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'm kind of coming with from three directions today. First of all, I'm a person retired from the healthcare industry, and I'm concerned about silica from frac sand, which is a carcinogen. Will this be the next asbestos? Look at some of those pictures in the lower right quadrant and look at it blowing in the wind. And that's just the mining process. Second, I'm a person of hope for the future because I'm a mother and a grandmother. Frac sand allows a mining process which is destructive and dangerous. The methane leaks from all stages of the mining, transport, and use of natural gas makes it worse than burning coal in many areas. Methane is 20 to 30 times worse than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. But today I'm kind of speaking mostly as a person of faith. I'm a member of First Congregational United Church of Christ. I also have many contacts and friendships with people from other Christian churches, the Jewish synagogue, and the Muslim community. We all come from the same faith family. The Bible informs my faith journey. Genesis 2 verse 15 tells me to care for and protect the earth. Psalm 65 speaks of the responsibility and privilege to be a steward of God's creation. And there are many others. Frac sand mining and use in producing natural gas and is in direct conflict with these verses on all levels, from releasing silica to methane leaks to burning fossil fuel and to the resulting climate change.
Welcome, Bruce Kuehmichel.
I'm speaking on behalf of an organization out of Madison, Wisconsin called Mom. Madison Action for Mining Alternative stands in solidarity and support of this rally to show the oil and gas industry that they cannot get away with holding a national insider conference in our state. We say no to big oil and gas and the enabling industries such as frac sand mining, which has exploded in our state since 2011. There is a sand rush happening that hauls off our beautiful rolling hills, leaving us with air pollution and barren flat lands in its wake. In Madison, we have the unique opportunity to put pressure on our legislators to do the right thing and force this awful industry to follow strict guidelines and regulatory policies to protect public health and preserve our bluffs, farmlands, and our water. MAMA is committed to helping this alliance and other organizations that have formed a broad coalition to draw the line in our sand. We say no to proposed pipeline expansions, no to hydraulic fracturing, and no to increased frac sand mining in our state. No new mines or pipelines, and no to volatile oil railroad transport. This was submitted to us by Thistle, that's her real name, Thistle Pedersen of MAMA. Thank you.
One last thing, so pick up any materials in the video.
Sure. I do just want to comment on the sand conference going on here today. You know, there's this whole concept in climate change now about stranded assets. This sand conference is pretty interesting if you look into it and the group sponsoring it. I really think they're whistling in the dark. They really believe, or maybe they deceptively say that they've got an industry that's going to recuperate and come out of this terrible recession that they're in. I don't think it's going to happen. And even if it does, it's just for a short period of time. They're really trying to deceive the public that they have a long-term viable industry here, and I don't believe they're going to do that. And we're going to fight them every step of the way. That's why we held this press conference and this rally tomorrow to correspond with this sand conference. We're going to show those people that they better realize they're holding stranded assets just like the oil and gas industry is. And that's where the future is going to lie. And part of what we're doing here today is we've got several people here doing videos. The rally is really important tomorrow. Within an hour or two, these videos are going to be up on YouTube and they're going to be going out to member groups here. So if you belong to a group and you get a YouTube video on email, please send it out to your groups and tell them to try to get to this rally tomorrow. It's going to be really challenging because it's supposed to have thunderstorms all afternoon. But we're going to try to make it happen anyhow and just really be this is a big kickoff to really confronting the sand industry here in the Midwest. We're not going to go along with regulation anymore. This is a real dividing line on that whole thing. So again, be sure if you get a video or an email with a YouTube on it of this press conference today, send it out to a zillion people because we want people to come to that rally tomorrow, rain or shine. That's going to be a really big thing. We've got, at 5 o'clock, we've got a half a dozen or so really good speakers, and from 3 to 5, we're going to have some other entertainment that's going to be quite interesting. So please try to make that, do your part to support the rally tomorrow. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make the comment that, thank you, Ken, for your words about the probable deception of the longevity of, the industry here in our communities. I just want to say that I think it's extremely important for us to stop thinking of ourselves only in economic terms, and that even if this was a long-term viable industry here, the fact of the matter is that we don't want that industry here for any term, under any circumstances. So even if they could prove to us that it was going to go on for 100 years and make $1 million, I really don't think that's the point.
Well, they can prove it to us. Isaac Orr from the Heartland Institute is speaking Wednesday morning, and he'll show us how good it is for us.